Well, since Venom's already out already, makes much sense to talk about this piece of crap. Spider-Man 3 is the third and final installment of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. Now, to be fair, there was going to be a fourth installment, but ever since there was a mixed reception to this one, they shut it down completely and plan to do a reboot. Now, to be fair, I will be talking about Spider-Man 1, 2, and the reboot films, but I feel, in my mind, that I should have to talk about Spider-Man 3. Because, my God, there is so much that I need to talk about. Besides the Venom, but everything else in the movie. This is the only one that I have. I have the triple feature. So I'm a total idiot. I just didn't even think about the Spider-Man movies until later on. I'm like, yeah, some of the films' effects didn't really age well, but you know, that's just the 2000s way of saying, we did it, we had that problem, we're sorry, we're going to improve upon it, and it'll be dated at one point, but it'll just be a little ageless, and sometimes the effects won't be so ageless. Like, for example, the first Quidditch match in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. That was so Star Wars Episode 1 all over again. I mean, really think about it. Just look at all the effects that they've done for that battle in Episode 1. From the droid tanks and... No, that's all I can say. Those effects don't look good. I mean, by 1999 standards, that was how we were starting off with CGI. I mean, it wasn't Jurassic Park groundbreaking. It wasn't Toy Story groundbreaking. It wasn't even all of those. It was just relying too much on CGI. And why? I know we improve upon CGI, but we're just doing it so poorly. Let's just get over with the story. Spider-Man, aka Peter Parker, is gonna propose to Mary Jane Watson, where he comes across Harry Osborn, who's now the new Goblin. Because if, spoilers for the first Spider-Man movie, Norman Osborn dies. Because Spider-Man killed him, and Harry Osborn doesn't find that out until later in the series. So he dodges on his own Green Goblin mask. He tries to fight he tries to fight Peter Parker. And when he does, he accidentally gives his friend a coma and amnesia, so he doesn't remember anything, and he just acts so weird. I mean, James Franco, I love the guy, but watching him in this, that was just, I don't even know what to say. It's just so terrible. There's another love triangle as always. In fact, all of the films in the original trilogy of Spider-Man have a love triangle. And that's just completely pointless. I mean, how can you imagine Batman having a love triangle? How can you see Superman having a love triangle? Or even Wonder Woman? Or Bruce Banner, Tony Stark? How could you say that? I couldn't even say that. Hell, it's not even like Stan Lee could even do that himself. And have Jack Kirby say, hey, you know what? Have a little love triangle for Bruce Banner and Tony Stark. Excelsior. That's my only Stan Lee impression, guys. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't. I can't do it. You hear me now? I can't. Now let's go on to the introductions to the other two super villains in the movie. Like the introduction to Sandman. I mean, the actor, he's a pretty good actor. And it turns out he is the killer of Uncle Ben. Even though there was no segue or any shot in the original movie They just reshot it. It feels exactly on the date of 2006 that they just reshot that scene, but they only brought in the actor who was the Sandman to redo that scene by making Uncle Ben get killed. They actually, I guarantee you that probably in 2002 that they might have reshot that entire scene and they wouldn't even have noticed. I don't even know what to come across. That is just, I think that might be Star Wars Rogue One all over again. Maybe even before that, Suicide Squad, Batman v Superman, Justice League, and everything else that's been happening, going around for reshoots and rewrites in the 21st century. They introduced way too many characters, like Eddie Brock. They introduced Gwen Stacy as a second love interest for Peter Parker, and that's in the comic book itself. And they even introduced the Sandman. There's just so many characters. So many! Now granted, the effects for Peter Parker fighting the new Goblin is a little better. I mean, it's fine. It's nothing too terrible. But Sandman's rebirth, I mean, the guy who turns into Sandman, it is beautiful to look at. It's shot well with the CG Sandman person, and he just takes it all in with no words as the musical score rises up and shows us such beauty. I just think that was the good part of the movie. And yeah, like, okay, yeah, he does have to do some villain stuff, like grab money, and he does grab himself some money just so he can save his daughter's life. So, that's the criminal's motivation, isn't it? Just to steal a lot of money, say he's not a bad person, he's just done terrible things. That's just bad, a little bit of bad writing there, but it's good motivation. It's a good motivation. I'll just give it a thumbs up. Yeah, I'll just give it a thumbs up. But let me tell you, nothing else can be said for Venom's entrance. It just starts off with Eddie Brock coming in to a church and asking God to kill Peter Parker. And he doesn't do that. The symbiote asteroid that crash landed to Earth, which is trying to make itself to the comics, and they did that. So they actually brought in the symbiote. It doesn't come into Eddie Brock at first, because like in the comics, it goes to Peter Parker as the first host, and it gives him the black suit Spider-Man. I mean, when the symbiote takes over Peter Parker, he just gives himself a haircut and wears emo clothes and starts dancing a Saturday Night Fever style. Yeah, that was an embarrassing thing back in the 2000s by superhero movie standards. So let's just get on to what else happens in the story. Peter tries to win back Gwen Stacy, but it doesn't work until the final end, and Venom comes in. And it's not too bad. I mean, when Peter Parker can't take this symbiote no more, he rips it off of his costume, and then Eddie comes in and sees him in the clock tower or whatever that was, and it turns him into Venom, and that symbiote takes him over. But the symbiote just makes him even more annoying. Oh, my spidey sense tingling. What was that for you? Now, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really watch that full scene. It's just too painful. And yep, Peter and Harry Osborn had to team up and they stopped the Sandman and then they stopped Venom. Or did they stop Venom? I don't know. I just don't really care. So anyway, Peter still gets Mary Jane. They probably marry, I don't know. I just don't care. This is just a movie I could just pop in at any time, guys, and just suffer for all the mistakes that Sony just did for their first attempt at Spider-Man franchise. They should have just used some of the other villains to just focus on Harry Osborn and maybe put Venom in for Spider-Man 4. Or maybe this do Spider-Man 3 and 4 and make them 2 parts. That would work. They should just keep Peter Parker, the Harry Osborn, Mary Jane Watson, and maybe put Eddie Brock in there, and then just have it be a 2-parter. Just make it 2 parts, like Spider-Man 3 and 4. They could be 2 parts. That would work. I just don't even. I don't even know. This is the first time a superhero franchise started to divide the audiences. Before Amazing Spider-Man 2. And every single Jurassic Park sequel ever. You name it. From what this popped up on the screen. I just had to get all that stuff out. Had to. Guys, thank you so much for watching. And I am done talking about this movie. Might as well see what they did with Venom this time. Who knows, maybe Tom Hardy could do a better version than the guy who played. Just let me dream! Don't show the score ever again! As always, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you then. When Spider-Man gets the new powers of the symbiote costume, it doesn't possess them or take over his mind. It just gives him he just gives himself a different haircut. It's just...
Okay, Dad, we'll be right back.
Okay.